Hey guys, Booligan here with Booligan Shooting Sports, doing a quick video overview on a new flashlight that was sent to me by Thrunite. This is the Thrunite TW10. I've actually done quite a few of Thrunite flashlight reviews years and years and years ago, but they reached out to me a couple of months ago and asked if I wanted to do a flashlight, and I said, well, normal flashlights aren't really my thing right now. I primarily do weapon, reviews, so... And they said, oh, well, we'll actually develop a weapon light. And they did, little pistol light. They did it through their Black Scout survival partnership. So it's got some really big Black Scout survival branding on the side, which I'll kind of talk about sort of in my pros and cons towards the end of this video. But just a little bit of a brief rundown on this guy and kind of the packaging that it comes in. It comes with a foam liner, but it's a nice little magnetically sealed package. It comes with some spare O-rings. It includes currently has the Glock style locking block. They also have a standard Picatinny 1913 style locking block. Just a couple of spares there, as well as a charging cable, and the warranty and the manual, which is pretty basic information. Realistically, everything that you need is going to be on here. The basic specs of this, maximum output, they have it listed as 900 lumen with a drop down to 427 lumens. Runtime at the peak is 195 seconds plus 130 minutes. So it will come down from 900 lumens after running constantly for around 3 minutes. And the standard, what it's waterproof to, it's IPX8, etc., etc. All of those specs and things like that you can find online. You don't really need me to go through them, but I will go through the design of it and what I like and what I don't necessarily love. It's relatively small. It's relatively lightweight. It does have onboard charging using USB-C, little sealed port back there. When it's not in use, close it up, and it has an indicator. There's an indicator light to tell you what it's doing when it's charging. It's not a proprietary battery setup. We'll be taking a look at it compared to a couple of other inexpensive and frankly kind of unpopular flashlights in the industry, but a couple of O-lights there we'll eyeball it against. But it just uses and includes a 18350 rechargeable 1100 milliamp hour battery. Nothing too crazy there, but it does include the battery, and it is obviously rechargeable since it has onboard charging. The fact that you can take the battery out is kind of nice, so you can lock it out just by unscrewing the bezel a little bit, and now it won't turn on. So that's helpful if you're transporting it, which is something that none of the O-lights can do. None of those have a lockout. You have to either take the battery out. If you're using a Valkyrie, you have to pop the CR123s out of there. And if you're using something like the PL Mini, you're just out of luck. The thing might just turn on. You don't have an option to lock it out. So it's nice having that lock-in feature, or lock-out feature, excuse me, if you are not using the light at the moment. How it mounts is it has a little spring-loaded claw here, and this guy unscrews to loosen that. That's one thing I don't necessarily love. I prefer a system that just kind of, slides on and clips in place, a nice little big throw lever there. But this system, it does work. It's just a little bit more intensive. You just unscrew it, you press it, put it on, and then you rotate it to tighten it up. And you can look that it's got kind of a pretty big piece there that you can do it by hand, or you can do it by any sort of wide flat object you can get in there. So this is on my CZ-P10C, just to sort of give you an idea of how it looks and fits. It is a little bit long up front. It is pretty comparable in size, a little bit shorter than something like an Olight PL2, certainly larger than a PL Mini, which is a much smaller offering. The functions of this light are very just dead simple. It has two functions. Momentary, by pressing either one of the buttons on either side, or just give it a short click and the light stays on. You can't adjust brightness. There's no strobe feature. There's no, oh, let me just, it'll remember what my last brightness setting. There's nothing like that. It's just a pretty dead simple, just turn it on, turn it off. That's it. There is some benefit to that simplicity. With some flashlights, you may turn it on and not necessarily be on the brightness level that you want to be on, or you may, accidentally turn on strobe when you want to turn on constant, or you may be turning on, consistent running when you only want momentary. There is some benefit to that simplicity, but in this day and age, most buyers are kind of expecting to have a little bit more of those features. So a lot of buyers may kind of be turned off by just the simplicity of it. What might turn them back on is the fact that it is a pretty inexpensive flashlight comparatively. Now they list it at 900 lumen. I have no way of measuring that. I can only sort of compare it. And I'll tell you, it doesn't necessarily seem as bright as some of my other flashlights. It's certainly not as bright as a Valkyrie PL2. I don't even remember what these are rated at. I think they rate them over 1,000 lumens. I don't know for sure. But it's not as bright as that. But obviously the Valkyries have many of their own issues that are fairly well documented. I don't think the issues that they have are as bad as people say. They're flashlights, put good batteries in them and they'll run well. And I feel the same way about this thing. But it looks pretty good on there. It has decent lines. Some people are probably not going to like this big, rotary guy here. And it is a little bit sharp. Now, it rides forward enough that you're like not, if you have your finger, realistically, you should have it here, but you're probably not going to scratch your finger or anything. And there's nothing on the off-shooting side to catch, which is nice. But again, in a world where most people are going to want to have like quick throw levers, this sort of rotary locking setup may turn a few people off. The beam pattern on it, not going to be able to get like a good idea of it here, but I can do a little comparison. It is more of a flood beam, and part of that has to do with the lens there. You take a look at that will focus, but the lens is a textured lens, so it does give it more of a flood pattern as opposed to a hotter spot. So you can see sort of the difference here. On the left, this is an Olight. On the right, this is the Thrunite. So instead of being just a very hot little spot of light, it is more of a flood. Again, some people prefer a flood, some people prefer a spot beam. It really is just going to come down to your personal preference, and all I can do is provide this information to you. But overall, it's about a $50 flashlight. You can find these things on Amazon for about $55. I'm sure you're going to be able to find them on sale. Thrunite flashlights tend to get some pretty screaming deals on holidays, and just occasionally you'll find really good deals on them. So it's about half the price of an Olight, about a third to a quarter of the price of something like, a Surefire Weaponlight. So, obviously this is very budget oriented, and because of that, you don't have a ton of features, but the thing works. It seems like it works pretty well. I'm obviously in a video soon, very soon. I was hoping to get out to the range to be able to put some rounds through this on video, do some low light shooting, but just I had a lot of things come up and was not able to. Part of it is this guy right here doing a lot of work on my Canon, which unfortunately kept me out of the range this week. But overall, you know, for 55 bucks, it works pretty well. It's got simple settings. It's bright. I like the simplicity of the controls, honestly. I don't need strobe. I don't need anything like that. Just give me a flashlight. And having a little bit more of a flood beam is actually more useful to me because it helps me have a more broad situational awareness as opposed to just a hyper-focused spot. So I kind of actually like that. The one thing I just don't necessarily love on it is that branding on the side. Now, I don't have anything against Black Scout Survival. I'm only vaguely familiar with his channel. I know he's got a big following, like 500,000 subscribers or more. But I don't necessarily like having a random YouTuber's logo on the side. So I'm probably going to be kind of blacking that out just because, I mean, I'll probably black out the TW10 on the side as well, just because it is kind of high contrast. But, you know, and especially just with that, it's a little NASCAR to me. That's just a lot of branding to be on the side, especially for a channel that I don't watch. So yeah, those were sort of my initial thoughts here on this Thrunite TW10. In the next video on it, which would hopefully be in the next 2 weeks, if I can get out to the range, we'll be doing just that. We'll be doing some low light shooting drills, see how it handles recoil, both with my 9mm CZP-10, and I think that we'll throw it on my RoboCop inspired FNS 40L. So that's in 40. So we'll just sort of see how it handles a couple of different recoil profiles. Just see how it works, make sure we don't have any defects in that. Obviously, my final opinion on this thing is really going to come after that point. So yeah, many thanks to you guys for watching these videos. I know flashlight videos don't do a ton of traffic on my channel because I don't know how to put together very entertaining flashlight videos. But I hope that you guys like this sort of little informational and mechanical look at this flashlight to show you how it works and to show you, you know, how it fits and some of its pros and cons. Many thanks to Thrunite for sending this over. And of course, stay tuned for another video in a couple weeks. See you at the range. Thanks for watching.